Forever podcast, take one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what today we're calling Working from Home, Coronavirus Edition.
Hooray!
This is Wendy,
And this is Terrence.
and we're going to explain to you today why everything is fucked.
That's the goal.
It's-
Or to explore how and why things are fucked.
Right. I am on my lunch break, working from home, as the title suggests, and we're going to talk about today why I'm working from home, among other things.
Yeah. Well, let's start there. Wendy, why are you working from home today?
It's a great question, Terry. Thank you. I'm working from home today because my boss suggested that I do because of the rampant spread of what the World Health Organization has now deemed a pandemic, the coronavirus, or COVID-19.
Ooh. It's a scary virus.
It is a scary virus. I'm going to recite some statistics that are wrong because I read them without really paying attention and don't really remember exactly what they are. But I heard that it's deadlier than the flu.
I have also read that in several places.
Somewhere between 4 and 20 times deadlier than the flu. I know the number's in there somewhere, but I'm not sure where in that range.
Yeah, that sounds about what I'm reading.
Right. And right now, some fast facts on the coronavirus. We're less than 200 cases in New York State, but 50% of those are right here in Westchester County.
All right.
We're number one. We're number one.
So ironically, by working from home, you're actually closer to the epicenter of the outbreak.
That's right. Keep your friends close and your
Viruses
contagions
closer.
Yeah, so no one knows what to do right now. And I guess I should go back to this outline that I drafted for myself. And I'm going to skip from 1, and then we did number 4 already. So now I'm going to go to number 3, which is to ask ourselves, why are we recording ourselves talking?
Because we can. Because we have the equipment.
I feel like that's the impetus. There's a mic stand.
Yeah.
And a mic stand adapter that holds a Zoom audio recorder.
Yep. And pop filters and studio cans and all kinds of fun junk just lying around the house. So
Right.
Why not cast a pod? Everybody else is doing it.
I have questions about the word podcast, which I always just kind of accepted as a thing that exists, but never asked, why is it called a podcast? I know the cast part, but why pods?
I think that's because that's how humans relate to each other. Sort of like dolphins in a pod.
Okay.
So it's in a way we're communicating to our tribe.
Okay. I can see that. I had, when I hear the word podcast, I think of a very futuristic thing. Like I'm looking at a white room, kind of like in Men in Black, where he goes and sits down in that funny little circular chair. Like that's the pod. That's what I'm thinking of. And I just think about people sitting, like Joe Rogan sitting in a white pod with a microphone. That's it. That's the podcast.
It's just everyone lives inside their individual egg and sends out a signal.
Well, this is how we are going to be communicating in the future, is just sitting in separate pods sending electronic
In the
messages
very
to
near
each
future.
other. I mean, it's the present. We're doing it right now. Coming at you in your social distancing quarantine.
That's right.
It's Wendy and Terry.
Social distancing went so mainstream that we started a goddamn podcast.
From our pod to yours.
Yep.
Oh, that could be the name of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Still working on that. So we have the equipment. That was one. The first bullet point that I had is it's cheaper than therapy.
That is true.
Since we already had the equipment, I guess if you went out and bought all of this equipment, it would still be less than the $4,200 I spent on therapy last year.
Yeah.
So, I also thought it was important to document this moment. Don't you feel like we're living in a special moment?
Yeah, I feel like this is a really good time in history to make sort of like a time capsule.
And to be clear, it's not a good time in history.
Yeah,
It is a bad time in history.
But it is a good time to be recording and journaling things because in 100 years, people are going to look back and go, holy fucking shit.
Do you think so? Do you think there will be people in 100 years?
I don't know. I could go either way. At this point, I'd say our chances are about 50-50.
And not just because of the coronavirus, because that it is probably not going to kill, relative to the entire human race, that many people. But we will all be infected with it eventually. They said by the end of 2020, we'll have about 40 to 60% of humans will have gotten this virus.
We'll see. Can't believe everything you read on the internet.
What?
But, you know.
What about everything you hear on the internet?
No.
Okay.
No.
Another reason why I think this is interesting is that the coronavirus is affecting you and I specifically.
Oh, that's true.
And they don't know us yet, I guess.
Who doesn't?
The people listening.
Oh, you at home.
So, listeners
You
like
there.
you,
Have we met?
you may not know.
You sound familiar.
How rude of me to not really introduce ourselves.
Well, we did introduce ourselves.
Well, we just said our names.
That's true.
It doesn't give them a whole lot to go off
Well,
of.
I'm also 6 feet tall.
Yep.
And I'm a ginger.
Those things are both true.
And I wear glasses,
Also true.
which you probably couldn't hear. But they're there. Trust me.
I feel like they can hear the glasses.
Mm,
But Terrence, who you said Terrence, right? It's Terry. It's how I affectionately refer to him because
Either
he is
one.
my husband.
either one.
Didn't say that yet.
Oh, yes,
Married.
we're married. Aw.
Oh.
It's our love podcast. It's going well so
That was
far.
a love song. So Terrence, my husband, is a musician, a traveling musician
Mm-hmm.
with a troupe of wacky outer space.
A band, so to speak.
Band, if you will.
A band, if you would.
Band of gentlemen and
One lady. Yep. We're called CousinEarth.com.
Yeah. Well,
We're not called CousinEarth.com,
Yeah.
but that's our website.
Terry and I actually have a band.
We do.
We're called the Whistles.
That's right. We're America's favorite new whimsical folk duo.
That they don't even know about yet. Except if they go on SoundCloud and listen to the Christmas album that we dropped in December.
That's true. We did drop a Christmas album.
It's called Merry Christmas.
And it's quite good, in my opinion.
If we don't say so ourselves.
For an indie record that's unmastered, it's very entertaining.
But anyway, we'll get deeper into this universe. I think there's other different podcasts where we can talk specifically about that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about all kinds of things.
Don't go anywhere.
Man, we got subjects for eons.
Yep.
Millennia, even.
And for millennials.
For millennials.
By millennials.
By millennials.
For anyone, really. I hope there's some boomers listening.
I don't think there's going to be anybody listening, but yeah, boomers,
You don't think our moms are going to
Gen
listen to this?
Xers, no.
Our moms are going to listen to this.
I don't think they're gonna.
Cheryl and Susan.
I think they're gonna put it on for like 5 minutes
No.
and be like, "That's cute," and then go chase a butterfly. I think that's what's gonna happen.
I didn't say it.
That's
Terry.
Yeah, if our moms are
Trouble now,
listening,
he knows.
if our moms are listening, and they aren't,
We love you.
enjoy chasing that butterfly.
And Terry's very sorry about the comments about the butterflies.
I'm not apologizing.
So this affects Terry because he is a musician. And do you want to tell them what I do since I said what you do?
Sure. Wendy is an attorney, an in-house counsel for AGMA, the American Guild of Musical Artists.
Nice.
They represent ballet dancers and opera singers, and some stage hands and folks all across.
Stage managers.
Stage managers, sorry,
Yeah.
across the nation.
We're not rating IATSE. Don't worry.
No, that's what I meant. Sorry, Ayatsi. Love you. Solidarity. Anyway, yeah. So she's yeah. Well, I'll let you tell them about a little bit more about the job because, you know.
Well, so thank you for that introduction. Yes, I work for AGMA, and let me tell you, both Terry and I have realized the pitfalls of working in industries which rely primarily on large groups of people gathering together in confined spaces and sharing bodily fluids. I guess that's not always part of it.
No,
But
we don't share
ballet
bodily fluids and
dancers are very physical. They get very, very close. Everyone's putting their hands all over everybody else.
I guess sweat is a fluid.
Sweat is a fluid.
Sweat is a fluid that counts.
Water droplets, perspiration.
Yeah.
If people are singing along to one of your songs in the audience, you don't think that there's bodily fluids getting up on you when you're on stage?
I don't know.
Sweaty hugs after the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yep. People passing things around, putting their mouths on it.
What are you talking about?
So, anyway, I think that we have a unique perspective on the coronavirus. In Washington State, this is another thing I'm vaguely reciting, kind of making it up, but no one's going to Google this, so I'm just going to say the governor of Washington State banned gatherings of larger than 250 people today.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Sporting events and musical events like operas and ballets and rock concerts.
Well, hey.
So we're not going to be moving to Washington anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because
For many reasons, but
we got to eat. That's number one.
yep.
And this is a very scary thing for freelancers, for people who aren't in unions, for people who are just out there struggling doing, 10 different jobs, and normally in the service industry. That's where a lot of our people work.
That's true. Yeah.
So our bartender friends and our musician friends and, everybody else who's working in restaurants and interacting with people, their livelihoods are at risk right now. It's a scary time.
Yep. And so we're trying to find the balance here between being apathetic or ignorant and panicking. But I don't know. You look at Italy, and Italy's in a complete lockdown right now. And
Can you tell us some fake facts about that?
Well, they're not fake facts, but
But I'm not holding you accountable. If
yeah,
you, get
no.
the
Like,
numbers
listen,
wrong.
I'm not going to cite any big numbers or statistics, but I can say from my personal experience, first person's perspective, that a couple of weeks ago, Italy was fine, and then last week they had quarantined all of northern Italy, and now it's the whole country. So
Right.
all I'm saying is, like, we can expect that within probably less than a week, shit may in fact be more fucked than we expect.
You're absolutely right, and I think that was the other impetus for doing this podcast. Is I would just like to be able to say every day, here's here's what's happening. Here's the update. Here's like the scale of things, and here's what it feels like. Because I want to remember this, and I want other people to remember this moment where everything was still kind of business as usual. Everything is still kind of okay. You look out the window right now, and like there's people driving their cars, and there's kids walking from school, and like everyone's out and about. And I feel like we're right on the precipice of some really, really crazy stuff going down, and that we need to pay attention.
Yeah, I agree. So I think it's good that we're documenting this right now, and we'll try to keep up with it through this whole experience. And who knows, maybe this will be a collection of useless recordings of us just fucking around. But
I don't know about that.
but maybe it'll have some historical importance.
Well, so on that note, Terry, tell me what your day-to-day is like right now. How is it affected by the news of this virus spreading, and what changes and preparations are you making or considering making in response to coronavirus?
Well, my personal day-to-day mostly involves practicing and emails and things like that. So I can play music and practice from home. That's no problem.
That's a solitary activity.
That's a solitary activity. But when you try to take it to the masses, that's when it gets a little sticky. Right now, South by Southwest is canceled. Coachella is at least postponed.
Right.
But we're worried that we may end up, if they cancel, or if they ban mass gatherings in this state, then we're going to be looking at not having a festival season, which is kind of how we roll. And if they ban mass gatherings, or even gatherings at all, like let's say they go to a complete ban, then essentially they're shutting off my life.
Yeah.
So at that point, we'll probably have to talk about ideas about ways to be more savvy with the tech and with the social media outreach, and rock that a little bit harder, I guess. But
maybe your band should start a podcast.
yeah, sure. Everyone's going to start a podcast. I think everybody already does have a podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and to prep for all this, I mean, there's not much that you can do beyond making sure that you have enough supplies to last a couple of weeks, I think.
Do you feel like you have enough supplies to last a couple of weeks?
I think we're all right.
I disagree. Because we just are eating our supplies.
Yeah.
We're not in survival mode yet. Like, the store is still a 3-minute drive away, and we can still go there and get whatever we need. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's going to come a time where that doesn't happen. And when it's really going to set in, that we've just been eating those frozen burritos in our freezer because we were lazy. I think we need to be more vigilant. I think we could be better.
I think that you're relying on those frozen burritos harder than you should be for your emergency sustenance. I'm more worried about the dry goods, the rice, the canned beans, the things like and the water, the clean water.
Right.
Those are my main concerns. Like, if people stop going to work at the power plant and the water stops coming out of the pipes and the electricity gets shut off, those frozen burritos are going to be worth fuck all to anybody. So
wait, so how much water does a person need a day?
I would say it's safe to estimate at least 1 gallon, and that's just for drinking.
Let's just say a gallon of drinkable water per day, and there's 2 of us, and you said, 3 weeks? Let's say 3 weeks. So that's 21
gallons per person.
So 42.
42 gallons.
The answer to life, universe, and everything.
Yeah.
Do we have 42 gallons of water?
Totally.
How many gallons of water are in the laundry room right now?
4.
4.
T2.
4. It's 4. So, as dire as it may sound, or we may be sounding like we're being dramatic. I can't even tell anymore.
Yeah.
We're not prepared. We're not prepared for like
But I would
threat level
venture to
midnight.
guess that we're more prepared than some.
maybe.
And there are people right now that don't even have the means to make sure that they're prepared
Yeah.
for this emergency, which is really where things start to really fall apart. Is like there's a lot of people that are comfortable in their daily lives, even if it feels like a struggle. They're employed. They're still going to work. They're still getting a paycheck. I think by next week, even it is possible. And I don't want to forecast anything, but I'm saying it's within the realm of possibility that within the next week or so, you're going to start to really see the economic effects of the slowdown.
Yeah, and how quickly we forget too. I mean, after Superstorm Sandy, within a matter of days, people were pulling guns on each other in the gas lines.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to go smoothly. Unless today, right now, someone says, everything's fine. Never mind. We figured it out. We have the vaccine, and we also have just a cure. We just have an injection, and boop, it goes away. So everybody who has it, and all the people that we haven't tested yet, that we somehow magically know have it, because our tests totally work and we have enough of them. Okay, we're all cured. It's fine. Because that's not happening, because we are already failing to contain this by pretending that everything is business as usual, is guaranteed that this is going to be worse. And I see New York City as always like a microcosm of the rest of the country, and like an exaggerated example of everything else that's going on in America.
Yeah.
And right now you have the craziest wealth inequality in 100 years at least, probably ever in New York City. I'm certainly ever, because there's like trillionaires who live here. And they're going to be fine. They're either going to helicopter away to someplace else or just hole up in their incredibly expensive apartments that they own in Manhattan with all the supplies they'll ever need. Like, the super rich people are going to be fine for now. The middle tier people like you and I, who kind of like made it out of the suburbs, out to the suburbs, out of the city, not doing like, I still commute there almost every day, but we're not living in the boroughs. I think we will be okay-ish, because just practically speaking, they could shut down those bridges.
Yeah, well,
They can trap everybody on that island.
That's why we got to get the fuck out when they start to say things like your neighborhood is under quarantine and
Right.
we're not going to allow travel.
Right.
Like that's when it's really time to just maybe get where you're going. In my opinion, folks, if you have a fucking place to go, if you have a bug out location, when
Grab your bug out bag.
they already shut down a neighborhood, and I'm just the businesses. They didn't like shut down people walking around.
Quarantining facilities, not people.
Yes, exactly.
Can't go to school.
Yeah, like non-essential services, stay the fuck home.
The National Guard is bringing them food.
Yeah.
They have deployed the National Guard in New Rochelle, New York, in Westchester County.
And let me tell you, folks, when you have to start to rely on the army to bring you your food, it is time to get the fuck out.
Run away.
So that's the other thing about
if they can afford to.
Yeah, if you have somebody you can stay with in a safer location.
Or if they have a car. So many New Yorkers don't have cars, don't even have driver's license, and depend on mass transit.
Yep.
And on some weird corners of the internet, they're talking about, hey, everybody, make sure that you've braced yourself for a 6 to 8 week shutdown of mass transit in major cities.
Yeah, I was here for the transit strike in the early 2000s, and let me tell you, folks, it was ugly.
Sound like Joe Biden.
It was,
folks.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway.
Fuck Joe Biden.
As I was saying, New York is a microcosm.
Until he's the nominee, and then yay, Joe Biden, I guess.
That's for another podcast. But it's just going to show, all of this is just putting a magnifying glass up to what is wrong with our country. The lack of preparedness, the lack of smart people in charge, the lack of belief in science, the lack of healthcare being available to people. What's really going to make all of this tank is people who don't have any paid sick leave, people who can't afford to miss a day of work or put their kids in daycare or do whatever they need to do. Any disruption to their day-to-day life is going to just send them over the edge, because no one can afford to take a day off. They have to keep working. Those people are going to infect the people that they are working with, because most of these people are, again, in the service industry, working in your restaurants, handling your deliveries, handling your groceries, and it's just going to flow upward. So that's my sort of dark timeline prediction of where we're going. I think that we can survive this and will survive this. I also feel like there's a lot of people who, we got like the two spectrums, right? We have people who are panicking because they're dumb, not because they like are scientists and know what's going on. Then you have people who are scientists and know what's going on, and they're like waving their arms around and saying, "Oh my God, like, hi, I'm a nurse in Italy. Let me tell you what Italy did wrong, and everything you need to do, America, to not fuck this up."
Yeah.
Because you're fucking it up, dude.
Yeah, no, it seems like the response from the administration is a fucking dumpster fire as usual. So, yeah, I don't know.
But do you think we're overreacting?
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly can't say that I have any kind of real clue as to what is actually happening, because my window to the outside world, outside of me traveling around and going to shows and meeting people and things like that is, as it is for everybody else, is the internet and television, and everything on television and on the internet is going absolutely apeshit. So you can expect that the broader public is going to kind of like mirror that chaos. So what you can expect, regardless of whether the virus is real or whether you're going to get sick, or whether you or your family are actually at risk from the virus. The virus in this case is kind of like a MacGuffin. It's like it doesn't matter anymore because here comes the chaos.
Explain to our folks at home what's a MacGuffin.
A MacGuffin is it's the part of the spy movie, like the microfilm that everybody's after, and it's the reason for all the stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
But the microfilm isn't important. It's the action going around it that is the important part.
And do you know why it's called a MacGuffin?
It's Alfred Hitchcock coined that term. He called it a MacGuffin because it just means nothing. It's a MacGuffin. I love Alfred Hitchcock. Anyway, yeah. So I would just stress to everyone the importance of living in the moment right now, and
yeah, just make a podcast,
Yeah.
Just go nuts.
Sure. Yeah. But more than making a podcast, just make sure that you're prepped. Be a good Boy Scout. This is the time. These are the times that we were all worried about, or that everyone, some of us were worried about them. The realists were worried, and the rest of y'all were just like, that'll never happen here. Well, it's happening here. You dumb shit. So get your shit together, put it in a backpack, take it to the shit store and sell it.
Put it in a shit museum.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Just get your shit together.
Just get it together. Well, I think that's as good a place as any to to call it an afternoon.
Yep, this is our first one,
My
so
lunch break is over.
we survive. We'll do a second one.
So this is day one of coronavirus working from home, and we will bring you an update and let you know how things are progressing here in the epicenter of the epidemic, Westchester, New York.
All right,
Okay. Are we gonna have sign-off music?
maybe. I don't know.
We should probably write some.
Yeah, we'll do that shit in post.
All right. We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post.